Happy holidays, everybody, and welcome to the 7th episode of the Final Circle podcast. So Andrew and I are having a lot of fun recording this, and we're really happy that we're on to the 7th episode. So I just want to start this video off with a big thank you to you guys who have been checking this out and supporting us with the podcast, the YouTube channel, and also the stream. As I post this podcast online on Google Play, iTunes, and YouTube, this is going to be the day after Christmas. So for everybody that celebrated Christmas, I hope you guys had a great Christmas day. If not, just a happy holidays to everybody in general. Hope you guys are having a great beginning to the winter, if it is winter for you, because I know there could be people in Australia, maybe it's not even winter there. You never know when you're talking to an audience, a pretty broad audience. You don't know what people are celebrating or where people are, but I hope you guys are having a good time. And one thing that we can all share together is that we are heading into 2019, unless you follow some crazy Mayan calendar. We are off into the next year very shortly, so I hope you guys have a great new year and all that stuff. And it's crazy to believe that we're heading into 2019 and that we're just 1 year away from 2020. So this is a holiday episode. Happy holidays to everybody. And again, huge thank you for all the support. If you guys want to take the support to the next level, you could always consider donating to us. This stuff really helps without the gracious donations and support from a lot of the listeners, people on the YouTube channel. This would not be a thing right now. It costs a lot of money to just get everything up and running with the YouTube channel, the stream, and the podcast. And we are now paying monthly to host this podcast so we can post it on all of those different platforms. So if obviously that's not required. If you don't want to do that, that's totally fine. We would never, require or really pressure anybody to doing that. If you want to just, listen to the video, like our videos on YouTube, help the channel, subscribe on YouTube, all that stuff. That is the best free way to support us and any of your favorite small content creators. It's huge, especially for all the small channels out there. So make sure you do that. Even if it's not my channel, go subscribe to your favorite small YouTuber, check out some smaller YouTube videos and support all of these small content creators. It just really helps us out a lot. Those things go a long way. And for anyone that wants to take us to the next level, donating through those links, I'll post them on the YouTube video we have a Streamlabs donation link, PayPal. You can become a member on YouTube. That's the gaming YouTube link, gaming.youtube.com/blitz5. You can go to that website and there is a join link to become a member and pledge a monthly donation to us, which really, really helps. So really appreciate it, guys. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And with all that being said, we'll get right into it. All right, what is up, everybody? We are back with the Final Circle podcast. This is episode number 7. We have a special holiday edition for you guys because today, as we record the podcast, it is Christmas Eve, and it's crazy to say that. I forgot it was Christmas Eve until we just went to record that. So you got me, myself, I'm Blitz5, aka Ray, and Cypher5, who is also Andrew. Say what's up, buddy.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
And we're excited to be recording the podcast today with the holiday season. We were super busy last week getting everything ready, doing the YouTube channel, getting ready for the holidays. So we missed last week's episode, but we're back this week and we'll be hopefully back next week, continued on. Again, this is just a weekly podcast for right now. And we're happy to be on to episode 7 and continue forward. It's been great so far. We've been receiving a decent amount of feedback from everybody. So we just want to shout out everybody that's been listening to the podcast, everybody that's been joining the stream and the YouTube channel. A huge thank you. I'm probably going to be putting out like a thank you video for everybody that's been supporting us and myself on the whole YouTube venture and everything, but there's been a lot of people listening to the podcast as well. So we just want to thank all you guys for tuning in, having fun with us as we talk about all this stuff. We really appreciate it. And we got a lot to talk about today with PUBG, some other video games, obviously the launch of Vikendi. That was huge news. So many things going on. Andrew might be building a gaming PC. Hashtag what? Because we're playing on Xbox. Is the PC master race taking over? We'll find out all that stuff. So we'll get into it here, and I'll let Andrew, what do you want to start off first? Do you want to start off with Vikendi or what's going on with your PC?
We can, let's start out. I guess I'll just go over the PC, just because that would be short.
Okay, yeah. And start off with, I want to hear what's your thought behind doing it? And stuff like that,
I recently just finished doing having grad school, so I have more time on my hands.
Oh, so you're finished now, right? With grad school?
Yep, all done.
Big congrats to Andrew finishing grad school.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a miss. It's worth it. I don't know. If you find something you like, it's worth doing. But if you're just going to go because you think you're gonna I don't know. Don't do it.
Yeah, I remember you telling me you were finishing up, but I don't think I told you in person. I think I told you good luck on your finals and stuff. But seriously though, congratulations that you finished that.
No, awesome. Thank you. So if you're in school, keep chugging. But so I have some spare time, and I haven't built a computer ever. The last thing I built I have a miner in my basement that mines like Ethereum.
Oh my god, do you still have that running?
No, it's not running.
Okay.
I took it down.
Okay.
It's just a lot of power consumption. So like I'm gonna take apart pieces of it and use some pieces of it. Well, the only thing I can really use is the power supply, but it's a huge power supply. But I built that. So, and I work on computers a lot. Like I work in like coding. So I was like, it'd be interesting to build one. Um, yeah, like it'd be nice to play some computer games again. And maybe like if I wanted to play PC PUBG, it'd be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Andrew and I played
So
a couple rounds of PUBG on PC, but he was playing on a laptop, which was working fine. It was just like you said, it's kind of hard to play on a laptop sometimes. And then also,
yeah,
yeah, my computer is kind of old too. And also, you do have
exactly.
an Elgato capture card that you bought for fun, so you could
Yeah,
always now you could if you wanted to record some gameplay, it would be easier. It's always easier on a desktop because it has more power.
yeah. So I mean, my my laptop is really good. It's an i7 7th gen, but it's just a laptop, and it gets so loud when you're playing a game. Like, and even through with the Turtle Beach headphones, I could hear the fans, which just kind of sucks. It's just annoying, and it's just the keyboard's different. It's just condensed.
Hmm.
Um, I just didn't like it. But at the same time, I was like, I'm looking for something to do. It would be fun to build one. Um, what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like with all this time, and I've never built one. I feel like it was just like worth doing and having like something that I wanted, because I could easily just go out and buy a computer, but I was like, that defeats the whole point. I don't need another computer necessarily, but I want to build one. So
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. It's not like you totally need one. You could definitely use one. There's like multiple options, but it's kind of like the whole
yeah,
project, and you're learning something new in the process, which is
yeah,
really cool.
yeah. I don't really need to. I don't need the computer 100%. Like I could live without it, but to build one, I think would make it a little bit more fun. It makes it your own, you know. So it's going to be a pretty powerful computer. I'm trying to make sure it's future proof. So like one thing that you have to always think of is like, what's the new thing?
Hmm.
I make sure it's like USB-C, type C, which is like a pretty new thing. Just making sure the motherboard is up to date, having a good processor. The graphics card I got is going to be pretty high end. I'm making an AMD computer, so it's an AMD processor, really. Um, so it's gonna be interesting. It'd be fun to do, see how it comes out. It's gonna be. I got mad color stuff too, so you got the RGB,
Yeah,
so
it's
you'll
cool.
get to see all
Everybody
the
loves
twisted
that
lights.
stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
like whatever. I figured I was like, if I'm gonna buy it, go all out. Got water cooler
Wow.
cooling for the
And so
CPU.
I've heard about that obviously like very often. I've seen it, and I've thought about building my PC, and I helped Dave build his PC one time. Like I was there when our buddy built his gaming PC. So I've seen this stuff, but like, did you see really like how difficult or complicated is this water cooling system, and is that like definitely the way to go? It seems like it is from what I've heard.
Well, so actually, like it's funny. I read a lot before I do things like this, but like there's actually Noctua makes really good fans, which are more traditional, and the Noctua actually has a better cooling capacity than a lot of cool water coolers. But the water coolers are pretty easy to install. Like it's just like tubes that run to a fan, which is the radiator, which cools the water. And it's just easy to install into the motherboard. You just bolt it down. It just makes contact. You don't have to like put water in it yourself or anything like that. You just kind of like similarly put it in like a fan. I don't think it's very complicated. I don't know why people, what I mean, I watched a whole bunch of videos on how to put a PC together, and
Mhm.
most of them had it. The problem is I saw with fans is that I don't want anything loud. I mean, the water cooler has fans on it, but it doesn't have the fans don't have to run it as a high rate to cool the water as they would if it was just cooling, the radiator like the Noctua does. They're supposed to be really quiet, but I just don't want more fans. I want less fans.
I gotcha.
So
Well, I didn't really think about that. It's more of like a sound thing.
yeah, and also I think part of it is like those fans are huge inside the case. So watching videos like these guys would put them in and they're like, "Oh, one issue could be that once you put this fan on, it's really hard to insert your RAM, or you have to take the fan back off and put your RAM in."
Gotcha.
Um so it's just like I mean, stuff like that, it's so minuscule, but I was just like, "You know what? Like this is like for the price I was getting the cooler, it was rated as good as like the Noctua for um cooling. And honestly, like AMD, a lot of people suggest like the ones they give you work very well too. Because AMD, unlike Intel, comes with their own coolers. It's just a fan. Not the
Hmm.
best, but it will do the job. But I was like, you know what? For the price point, those Noctua fans are expensive. for like having a fan, I think. And I was like, I can get this nice cool master for like $20 more. It has just as much of a rating, has a really good rating for, keeping the CPU cool. And I don't plan on like overclocking or anything. So, but it was surprising to know that if the fans actually do just as good of a job as the water ones. So, but I think they just run a little bit louder because they have to be running at a higher rate.
I gotcha.
As
And then
opposed to the
I
water.
wonder, like, if you're like super hardcore and you have like some insane PC, like, do people do both? Do they have like a cooling system and a fan? Is that even like possible, or is that just like redundant?
Nah. So, like the way like the CPU sits on the motherboard, right?
Yeah.
And your cooler of any kind actually just makes direct contact to it. So
I
it
see.
sits like right on top of it.
Oh, so that's a
so
cool
like
right on the
basically
motherboard.
that's
But
it.
then there's also sometimes the fans in the back. Like sometimes, like,
Yeah, you need those fans because you need the fans. Like those fans, you
okay. So
have
you're
to
saying
have
just the
to
cooling
get
on the
air.
CPU is going to be either a fan or this thing, and then the back always has the fan still.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have
Okay.
some fans there too.
Gotcha.
I'll probably have like all together the two fans on the cool master,
Okay.
which are pretty much attached. And then there's gonna be, I'll probably have just two more fans on the back of the computer just to like actually like
No, I totally get it.
get
For some
more
reason, I
air
was
in.
thinking, yeah, okay. I was thinking something else. I don't know why.
You don't really need a lot of. I mean, I don't think I should need many more fans in there. Honestly, like the two should be okay for the Noctua because it'll be pretty cool in there. But it's always good to just have more airflow into the box itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
That's
crazy.
always the bigger thing.
It's crazy because, like I said, man, when I was back in high school, I feel like I was so much better. Like, we had modded our Xboxes, took them apart. We added lights to our Xbox. I used to go inside my computer and I would upgrade my computer. Like I said, I never fully built one, but I like would do crazy upgrades to it.
Yeah.
And I knew like all that stuff. And now I think it's when you're younger, you have a lot of time to kind of just like tinker with things and figure it out. But now, like, I'm like so far removed from that stuff that, but it seems like it is fairly easy. I watched a couple YouTube videos because you said you're getting into it, and you're about to do this, and I'm definitely considering it when I'm going to be going away on vacation. So again, if you guys are listening to this, just like an FYI, I'm not going to be streaming for the next couple days, and probably until the new year. Really, I'm going to be away on vacation and just spending time with like family and friends. But I'm going to look and see like after Christmas if there's like some big sale. I feel like there's usually like a kind of a Cyber Monday, for lack of a better term, like after Christmas, which is what it would be like Wednesday. Usually there's some pretty good deals right after Christmas or even on Christmas Day now. So I'm going to definitely look and maybe consider doing something similar as you, but I'm not 100% sure yet.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's nice about building your own. You just get exactly what you want, you know? I already have a power supply for my miner that I'm going to use, so I'm going to like save some money on that. But like also, you can kind of get a little weird with things, and PC Part Picker does a great job because it like lines up everything for you, finds the cheapest price, and you could just click buy, and then you're on your way.
Yeah, it tells you like what's applicable with what, like what goes with what, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't even tell you that you need like extra fans in the case, but it's just a good practice, to be honest with you. I gotta order those. I just gotta make sure I keep them on my list. But
it's kind of like indecision overload though, because you can really pick between. There's so many options.
Yeah,
right? It's kind of like holy crap.
So basically, what I did is they have like pre-builds on there, like ones that like are submitted or like recommendations.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So what I did, I looked at one, and it which was like a lower one. It was like I can't remember they named it, but then I added like I upped the CPU. The GPU had the one I wanted, which is a 2070. So I upped the CPU, AMD CPU, to a 2700 from like a 72300 or something.
Okay.
And added a better cooling system in it, and that was about it. Like,
that's really
all
smart.
Really
that's a good way to go. Yeah.
And I switched the SSD. I made it bigger, better. I got a better SSD, like a Samsung
Nice.
SSD. So, I think that was, so I got more power, and like I got exactly what I wanted, but I still kept the price point down. So you can kind of get creative when using that site, and it definitely gets overwhelming. So, and it's overwhelming because you're like, oh, do I pick an Intel? Do I pick an AMD? And it's just really preference. They're really not going to be that different. At the end of the day, it's just, it's not going to kill you. You save money on the AMD, and you sacrifice a little bit for it though. But it's not like the end of the world, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you need to find some spots here, because if you keep trying to click on let me get the best in every spot, then your computer is going to be like thousands and thousands of dollars. So you have to start cutting back in some areas, you know.
Yeah, it's like as soon as you see like, oh, the i7, then you're like, well, I could get the i9. And it's really not even going to be any more beneficial for what you're doing. So it's just kind of like, know what you're getting into, know what you want to do, or what you're going to use the computer for, I guess. And then
Yeah, I had no idea that they even moved into like an i9. I didn't even know that was like a thing.
yeah, I don't think they're really like a big. They're not like. I don't know how many people use them, or they're really more for not as much for computers or gaming. But the i7's the i7 8700 is the big one for gaming.
Yeah,
So
I've heard that many times before.
yeah, and I mean like it's a NVIDIA, and I'm getting a NVIDIA GPU, so I
Nice.
just don't like AMD for the GPUs that much. So I think that is important. Like those are the main things, and I got a MSI motherboard, so and I like MSI.
Yeah, it seems
So
like
it's
they
like
make
a
good
bias.
products. Yeah.
They do. I have an MSI laptop, and I've never had an issue with it. So it's only a year and a half old, but
Mhm.
typically if you're gonna have problems with your computer, it usually happens fairly quickly if it's a
Yeah.
crappy product.
And what's really nice, what's really nice is that you don't get any like bloatware stuff like when you when you buy Windows and boot it up, like it's just going to be no BS. And, I have to say, I got a Lenovo gaming computer like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago. And it was a beast. And I know people, Lenovo is a Chinese company, and people say that they like cheap out in like certain parts, and it's bad. There's always going to be criticism for every company, but I really have not yet had one issue. And our laptops, Andrew and I went to the same college. I still have my laptop from school. They gave us laptops, and that's 7 years old, and it still works fine. And that's Lenovo, but it does come with so much bloatware that like to this day I tried removing it all and I can't. And like even this morning, dude, I turned my computer on and it said like some Dragon Slayer game downloaded. I'm like, how is this stuff still happening 5 years later? Like random apps are downloading to my computer and stuff like that.
I feel like that happened to me with even my MSI. But like, yeah, the thing is with when you get Windows, if you realize like Windows is only about like, I think they say you need a 8 megabyte, but 8 gigabyte flash drive to install Windows onto a new computer. So that's all that operating system is.
Wow.
And sometimes you get these computers and you have like 50 gigabytes of memory, or more. And you're like, whoa, what? And then you're like, here you are, it's like bare bones Microsoft, Windows OS is 8 gigabytes. If you just download it from the site, put it on a flash drive, and then plug it into your new computer. So that's like a thing to think about, definitely, for the bloatware thing.
Yeah,
100%.
And something interesting. I mean, I don't know, like if this is just BS or if anybody even really cares about it. But I thought about this for my girlfriend, because eventually she's going to need a new laptop too. That like there's a thing that Microsoft is like pushing now called like Windows 10 S mode. Have you heard of this? And they're saying like if you get like the most recent version of Windows 10 and use like their Microsoft Edge browser, which I think is like the new version of Internet Explorer, which I don't know how many people use, they're pretty much guaranteeing that like you won't get a virus. Like it's impossible to get one if you use those two softwares together. Yeah, I saw a commercial about it, and I saw that some of the new like laptops that they're pushing for like 2018 holiday season have like they're like Windows S mode, Edge, like you can't get a virus. I wonder how true that is, and like what's really the reasoning behind that. Something to look into though, because I know you're going to be buying a new version of Windows, and then
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the deal is, but obviously there's free. I use Bitdefender, which I've read a lot of good reviews on. That's like a free virus software. So I definitely would recommend that if you're looking for something, because you're going to need something like that on your computer.
I honestly, all I have on my computer is Malwarebytes right now.
Really? Yeah, I have Malwarebytes and Bitdefender. I would definitely recommend it. Bitdefender kind of runs it. Like you can tell that it's like a bigger kind of program or whatever. Like I see it running in the background sometimes, but it's really, really good. I did a lot of research a couple years ago to like find the best free one, and that was what I came up with.
Yeah, I never had an issue with my MSI. I just don't go on like, I don't really download anything not pretty recognizable on this computer, because I was using it for school. I don't like go on weird websites or anything like that, if you know what I'm saying. But like I have a lot of stuff on this. I have a lot of stuff on this that I wrote down, like MongoDB, I have Python, I have Spark, I have Eclipse, I have a ton of IDEs, and it runs like a monster, and I haven't had a single problem yet in over a year and a half.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is kind of lucky. All I have is Malwarebytes too. I have like the free version of Malwarebytes, and it always
Yeah.
asks me to upgrade. And I was just like, nah,
No.
because I figure like now it's like if I really needed to, I could just wipe this computer clean. Now that I'm done with school, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I
Wow.
mean?
That's
I'm just like
crazy.
whatever. But at the same time, that would kind of suck. I'd rather not do that.
Yeah.
But I think if you kind of shy away from those like weird websites where it's like download this mod for this game, it's just like probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
stay away from that stuff too, man.
and that saves your computer a lot of stress.
Yeah.
I
And
do all that stuff on my MacBook.
how many, do you have a lot of room storage on your laptop?
So I'm stupid, and I was the way they set up your like an SSD. So this one's has an SSD 250 gigabit SSD 250 gigabyte, and it has a 1 terabyte HDD. So, but the way they set that up is that your documents folder and downloads are still on your SSD. You know what I mean? They don't route it to your hard drive, which is annoying. So I do have a lot of storage. I just didn't like manage it well, to be honest with you. So like all my downloads are in my like SSD, which is stupid. I should have routed my downloads to my
Because you want the bigger files, you mean, to be on there so they load
yeah, because
better?
really you only need your OS and maybe frequently played games on your SSD. You don't need
Yeah.
things
Or if you had like
downloaded
a
to it.
frequently used program, right? Something like that.
Exactly. Something
Yeah.
that's memory intensive that you want to get a little more speed out of. That's fine. Like programs, I would say programs and like frequent games are the best to be on your SSD. You really don't need, obviously files and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
you don't need a CSV file or a Word document to pop up like in a matter of minutes. So, that's where I screwed up. So I've been trying to like slowly move things off of my SSD to my the big HDD, because I have like 800 gigabytes left on that.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, I was like worried I was filling up the SSD, but that's still a lot of space. Like in my new computer, we'll have a 500 gigabyte SSD
That's
and
awesome.
then 2 terabytes of
That's
spinning
that's
storage.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's plenty. I mean, one of them I priced out had a 1 terabyte SSD,
Wow, but that's
and I
really
was just
expensive
like,
though, right? You're really paying a
no, it
lot
wasn't
for
that bad because it was a cheap company, but I was like, I'd
Uh,
rather get a better SSD than some cheap SSD.
yeah.
And get
Yeah,
a smaller one.
yeah, I don't think you need. I get it, but I feel like that's fine. Like I would even maybe went with like 256. The fact that you went with 500, I think is great. So
Yeah, and size does matter a little bit with these. Like the smaller the space, what I mean, the more you store on it, the slower it's actually gonna get. So it's better to have a little bit extra space
true,
in
true.
there.
Yeah, right. I have heard that. So yeah, that's a good point.
Like it's better to have like a 500 gigabyte one will actually run faster than a 250, especially if you have like the same amount of storage on it.
Wow. Okay.
I guess it's just the way it has to go through everything. I'm not really sure why, but I read that online a couple times. I was like, all right, I'll believe you.
There you
And
go.
for the price, I was like, I'm not really saving much more by getting a 250, and I don't want more hard drive space. I don't need 3 terabytes of hard drive space. I could buy an external terabyte if I really needed it for cheap. So
Yeah. I bought an external terabyte that I have. It might be even 2 terabytes, and I don't think it's an SSD. It might be. I have an SSD for the Xbox, but I have one just for my computer because all the footage that I capture,
yeah,
I just destroy like data space. It's insane.
yeah, especially when you're recording in like high definition and everything too.
Yeah. Even like some of the drone footage too. That just takes up so much space. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they haven't quite figured out how to make things smaller yet. That compression.
Yeah. I'm actually having a whole bunch of issues with all my drone files right now, which is not something to bring up, but like it causes so many problems right now, even in the video editors and stuff, because
Slows
you need to have the
everything
most
down.
like up to date stuff to like process and render and edit those videos.
Mhm.
So it's just a pain, and that's another reason why I would like to maybe upgrade the computer, because that stuff takes a big toll, and my computer just doesn't sound good. It's like it makes so many noises when I'm video editing and stuff now, and it sounds so
Yeah,
loud.
it's struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. See, for me, like the AMD 2700 was a good buy. Maybe the i7 would be better for you, and maybe like
Yeah, I have an
instead
i7 right now, but in this computer, it's that how like the 8700 is like the best thing now. Like
yeah,
mine's like I think 4700 or something like that. So
yeah.
it
Well,
shows
the
like
thing is that they do like I don't know if you know this, but like for graphics cards, right? They do generational, so it starts at like 100 and then it goes up to 9000 and then it repeats. So you could have like a 1070 GPU but you probably have a couple of generations ago.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's not like my 2070 is like the same generation as yours. So like that's pretty similar with processors too. So like you probably have an older i7 processor, like an older generation. The one
Yeah.
that's current is like Coffee Lake. So
Gotcha.
like they go through like a certain amount of iterations and then they go back around again, and like, you know what I mean? Like the i5 or i3 now is probably better than your i7 then or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just the way they do things.
Yeah, I have an
Um,
i7 4770K CPU, which at the
yeah.
time when I bought it 5 years ago, it was like it was pretty solid.
No, it was good. It's
Yeah,
probably really good.
it was great. It was a
Now
beast
there's
back
an
then.
i7 9700K.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But
yeah,
that's
yeah,
probably what they do. They probably go through, they do the same thing, like i7, and then they do 1,000, like 10 set, like 1700, 2700, and then when they get up to 9700, they probably start over again too with the processors.
yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I assume it's probably
Yeah,
similar to how
I know what
GPUs
you're
are.
saying. Roundabout. Yeah,
Yeah, kind of like just because they run out of numbers, it's just easier to like, all right, like go back to 0 and start over or something. But I'm
yeah,
sure that's probably the case. But it's always like it's kind of hard to say unless you know exactly what generation. It's kind of a weird name, Coffee Lake.
yeah. That is weird,
Series.
and it's so many. There's so many different numbers and iteration. Then like I'm sure like people may freak out. They're like super hardcore, but I don't even know what that K means because I saw there's some that have K at the end and some don't have K at the
Yeah,
end. I'm sure like I don't know.
it's just a small change probably to something
Yeah,
kind of like an iPhone.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not really sure. I didn't research that part. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going with the AMD. I'm saving $80. It's almost as powerful. Like I was looking at the side by sides for games. I lose some games. I lose a little bit of frames per second. Some are similar. Some are more. But I know AMD has really good ratings for like just doing workload type of things. I don't know about video editing, but for like working,
Yeah.
just doing like normal human being stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of that
It's
stuff
better
is
than
like,
the i7, which is weird. So there's a balance. It's a give and take. It depends on what you want to do.
yeah. And honestly, like when I first got my new computer, I mean, League of Legends isn't like a graphically intensive like game, but I would unlock my frames just to see how like powerful my computer was, and it would hit like some crazy number, like 370 frames per second or something. I'm like, obviously, it doesn't even matter. Like a lot of people, just cap it
No.
at like 60. But it was just cool to see the number go up that high to see how like powerful the computer was at the time. But
Yeah.
it's stuff like doesn't. A frame loss here, like
It-
at 150, isn't going to make a difference, really. So it's like,
no, especially with a certain game. I mean, you're not going to notice for the most part. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to notice 10 frames per second, and I don't even play that many computer games. But I just wanted something that was going to be more like higher end, just so it's like it'll last a little bit longer.
yeah, that totally makes sense, man. And I think this is
Yeah.
honestly a good time to transition into talking about Vikendi because
Yeah.
you were asking me if I had my Vikendi, the PTS, on my external hard drive, and you said at first that you didn't, right? Is that what was going on?
No. Yeah. So Vikendi just came out, so I had it on the PTS for Xbox, and the PTS was on my just Xbox hard drive.
Mhm.
And the first jump, it was like loading in. I was like, oh boy. Like Wendell fell through the map. Like he was like going into the ground and came back up. But
Wow.
then once I moved it to the SSD, there's no issues. It
Wow.
came in immediately.
So yeah, that was pretty surprising to hear. So just to recap for everybody, but everybody knows by now if you're listening to this podcast, you definitely know. But Vikendi came out on the 21st, which is crazy. Finally, it finally happened. It was
Yeah.
awesome. Got to play
Probably
it.
part of why we're late on this podcast too, because we just ended up playing Vikendi.
Yeah, there was a lot of
So
stuff going on,
funny.
and Vikendi getting played, streaming that. Yeah, and Friday I had like a 7-hour long stream just doing that, playing Vikendi and stuff like that, which was tough at first. So that came out. Definitely issues. This is definitely why it needs to be on the test server. There's a decent amount of issues. Nothing to me is like game breaking, but it reminds me of like old PUBG where like people are falling through the map, and which I guess is game breaking, but it's not like it ruins the map. It's not like you might die, but I saw most people weren't dying from that stuff. Like there's a lot of flying cars, there's a lot of that stuff going on, but
Yeah.
this really shows that like this game really needs help from an SSD. So if you guys haven't gotten one yet, maybe you get one for Christmas, or you can get one on sale around this time too. But if you're a big, I really only recommend this if you're a big PUBG player, or you like to play games that are really big and take a lot of loading, maybe like Red Dead or GTA. Like if you play a lot of those games, it's worth it to have an SSD and shave off some of those time to load even just loading into the game, and it really helps when you're getting into the game, like Andrew was just saying with the buildings loading and stuff. So I would definitely recommend that.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I picked up a cheap SSD honestly for my Xbox. I didn't go crazy. People were like, "Oh, you should get the," someone's like, "You should get this," Samsung is really high end. And it's just like
Yeah, I
it's
think
not
for your
that
Xbox,
necessary.
I agree with you, man. I just think
Not
it's
necessary.
it's really not even necessary to have one. So if you go for one, just get a cheap one. Try to save
Yeah.
money.
I think I paid $50 for mine or 60 and it was like a 250 gigabyte one. I only have the PTS, PUBG, the full release, and I don't have any other games on it. And if there's another game that I really want to put on it, it takes like 10 minutes to switch games off of it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? At most, to load a game on and load a game off.
yeah. I've Call of
It does
Duty,
take long.
PUBG, and the PTS, and that's you're not gonna. I mean, unless you're a big gamer, you're not gonna. You can just switch them off, like Andrew said.
Yeah, playing multiple games at once, or you just don't really but I don't think it's worth spending that much money on an SSD.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to be putting games like Rocket League on your SSD.
No,
It's probably totally fine to just be on your regular
no,
Xbox.
100%. But yeah, you could definitely find a cheaper one, and it's not bad at all. Like I honestly, you could probably just buy like a flash storage one. There's like big enough ones that are like the little USB plugins that are probably big enough that you could put in there.
Yeah,
But I think I made sure I had like this USB 3 and those type of things. So that's kind of a big deal. Make sure it's the USB 3 for sure.
yeah, yeah. That definitely. I think most things are at that point, but you definitely want to make sure that's the case. And
Yeah.
so I guess we'll talk about. I also remember one of the topics I want to talk about that we'll bring in a second. I remembered that we should talk about, because SSD, the next generation Xbox, but we'll leave that for later in the podcast. If you guys are interested in hearing about that, stick around. But let's talk about Vikendi. So what were your like initial impressions of playing the map? Well, me and you played on PC, so we kind of knew, but obviously to me, I got way more out of playing it on Xbox than I did from our PC playing because
Yeah.
we don't know how to play on PC at all, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was hard to play on PC just because the controls for us were pathetic, but I'm hoping to fix that with when I get a new computer, play a little bit more. But I think I really liked about it on Xbox is that it does look really great. I think it's not fully optimized yet. I did feel like there was some, when I first playing Sandhawk on my Xbox One X, there was like a weird, like, I had issues. It just felt like there's a lot of weird, like frame dropping, stuff like that. And even though you could kind of, control that now in the PTS, like it has that option to make it frame rate prioritized, I still feel like there's a little bit of an issue how things are working with it, because it is PTS, so I don't really care. I just feel like it's like it just feels off to me. I can't describe exactly how it is, and I'm assuming it's the frame rate or something.
No, you're so right, Ken.
So like
Yeah, let me hop in there real fast because
yeah, go
I
ahead.
had like no frame rate issues. Like for the most part, it's been working so well, even getting close to people. And normally on other maps, when you get close to another squad, you can feel the like. We were playing Miramar the other day, or Erangel, and I'm like, dude, I know we're getting close to another team because like I was moving slower, and I'm on SSD Xbox One X. I could tell like there's other people around.
Yeah.
But I wasn't getting that really on Vikendi. But you're so right, dude. There was something off, and I've heard a lot of people say this. I don't know if it's the hit detection or something, but I heard a lot of people when I was streaming saying that they would like be shooting people who weren't moving and they weren't dying. There's definitely something, it's PTS. There's definitely some kind of issues going on with the server. 100%.
Exactly. Yeah, I was okay with it, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's just my eyes aren't used to the white. But like when I look through a scope, I just feel like it wasn't clear. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of
I
agree with
can't
you.
put my finger on it.
That's so true, dude. It does look like almost like the PUBG graphics do look weird, like the something. PUBG is such a weird game because sometimes it looks so realistic, and other times it looks like N64. It's like right in the cusp of like two different things. So sometimes when you look at like a rock, if it hasn't loaded
It's always
yet,
about to break, I feel like.
Yeah, you like don't know what you're gonna get, and it is hard, man. Like the map is so detailed. It's definitely the best map ever. Like some areas are in the woods. It's so realistic looking, but other parts it's frustrating because of that. It's so detailed, and there's so many things. There's like so many leaves flying across the screen, and there's like so many things that it's really hard to see people, and like it almost plays with your eyes a lot when you're playing because there's so much. I almost think they maybe went like too ham with some of those, like, you know what I'm talking about when you look and there's like fleas flying by. I know they're doing that to like troll you, but there's almost like too much of that sometimes, and you're like, holy crap, it's like
The
seizure
snow.
warning.
Yeah, I think it's good. But like overall, you're right. The quality is great. I think the buildings look great. They're all awesome. It
Yeah.
feels like a real cohesive map.
Hmm.
Um, I think that it's just maybe there's just something off because it's the PTS and they haven't quite, they probably haven't polished it off, which I get. They're probably collecting some data like, okay, like this is their pain points and everything. That's fine.
Hmm.
Um, but I like it. I think it's the best map hands down, to be honest with you, just graphically, like the feel of the map, like how it
Yeah.
plays. The pace I think is good so far. I think I could like, play more games to really feel that pace more though. But like, how do you feel about that the pacing?
Dude, I know it's crazy. I hope it hasn't like ruined my whole view of like PUBG, but
Hmm.
I think that I was actually like a little disappointed, man, because
Really?
I play so much Sanhok on stream,
Yeah.
and I like really kind of credit that to helping my stream become like more popular. I think like if there was just one map and it was Erangel, I honestly don't think that I would be doing well with PUBG.
Hmm.
Like I don't think I would have as many people watching the stream. Just like looking at it from like a, I don't know, like self-analyzing it, because there's so many. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people don't care. I don't know. Maybe people are more interested in just hearing me kind of goof around and talk.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong, but playing Sanhok, I just feel like I get so many more kills. I play so much faster. Not you're gonna get people who can't, but most of the time you get people who are kind of, I feel like, are playing the same way as you, because everyone's like playing Sanhok for the same reason.
Hmm.
For a little bit more faster gameplay, more weapons, and
Yeah.
and this map being in the middle of all the other maps, like I thought it was going to be a little bit faster. And there's still some times where after like the maybe where you land, you kill somebody, and then after that, until you get into like the second or third circle, like it's a pretty big gap of time where like there's not much going on, because the map is still pretty big. Even when I first started playing, I found like I couldn't find, like, I was trying to hot drop at one point during the stream, and I was like going to different locations and I couldn't land near anybody. I couldn't
Yeah.
even find like a hot drop spot. I mean, now I kind of know where they are. I'd have to look at the map because I don't know all the names off the top of my head.
Mhm.
I've kind of realized some like hot drop spots. But
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that I don't like the map. I thought this map was gonna blow me away and like be the best map hands down. I still think that Sanhok might be my favorite playstyle map, but this map design wise is the best hands down. There's really no arguing that
Yeah.
because of all the extra detail and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I definitely get the that you want to have a faster pace game. I think that it's also like there's still a learning curve. People are getting used to the game,
Yeah,
so we don't have like the hot commodity drops. But I kind of like those periods of, I mean, Sandhawk is definitely fun, and I like Arangol a lot. But I like that period of like not much going on sometimes because it makes, I think, the game a little bit more intense, if that makes sense.
no, it definitely does.
Um,
It makes it feel
like,
more like like old school PUBG.
yeah, like you need, like it gives you that sense of anxiety almost that, like, like you're not on your toes, you're kind of like doing something, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, like now shit's hitting the fan. Sandhawk, I feel like you're always on your toes. So like you're kind of like, like that spike of adrenaline is more flat to me. But
Hmm.
like for this one, it's just a little bit more kind of like I feel like it's a good blend of the two,
Yeah, it
I
definitely
think
is.
you
It
kind of
definitely
get it.
is.
It's hard to explain. I definitely like it. I like Sandhawk. I like them all. Honestly, I think Miramar is my least favorite just because it's so big. But Erangel always is like, I think Erangel is a perfect map for squads,
Yeah.
with when it's 4 people. Just because it's like when you're playing Sandhawk, it's really hard to play squads, I feel like. There's just so many condensed people, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
fighting.
Hmm.
It
That like
makes it
someone can
tough.
take it out like really fast.
Yeah, exactly. And you're playing with 3, and on that small of a map, you can run into 2 teams of 4. And if you're with 3 people, you're in a tough position. Erangel, you have a little bit more room to move with, if you only have 3 people. Um, and I think like this map kind of has like a good feel. I think it would be a good duo map or squad map. I think it has a little bit more versatility than the other maps. That's how I guess I could sum it up.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. It definitely this map fits like every play style, and that's really great. But I had a couple people, like, shout out to Spooky. He came in and was like, dude, I came in expecting this to be like Sanhok, and I playing solo. He's like, I felt like I was playing Erangel again, and that's kind of how I felt on stream, I guess. And
Yeah,
I think it's because I play so much solo. That's kind of where it's coming from. And I don't know how
yeah,
many times you've played Vikendi solo, but it definitely is, I feel like, a little bit more difficult to play solo. like more like
Yeah, no,
Erangel.
I mean, I feel like if you're playing solo, like you have to almost play Sandhawk because you
Yeah.
don't have like the people. People tend to spread out. I feel like a little bit more when you. So this would be my theory: is that if you're playing in squads, 3 squads land at military base, or boot camp in Sandhawk, right? That's
Yeah.
12 teams. That's 12 people. Typically, probably in solos, like 8 people land there, and then some people go to smaller shacks. But when you're in the squad, you have to, you need more loot. You need everyone to get, loaded up.
Yeah.
So I think that's like kind of like, if you think kind of like spread that theory around a little bit, that more people are going to land in these more populated areas as solo, like, you know what I mean, like not more, but like 8 people in a solo match landing at boot camp is a lot compared to 3 squads. You're like,
Yes.
okay, we only
Yeah.
have 2 more squads here, like that's
Mhm.
not bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like in my mind, when you have 8 people landing there that are all solo, it's a pretty different situation, right?
100%. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
No,
kind of
that's
hard to
true.
say. But I think it's gonna be a fun addition to the repertoire of
Yeah.
maps.
And honestly, now that the more maps there is in it, it almost makes me want to like I feel like I'm pretty I've been wanting like map selection forever, and I'm almost kind of happy with just like loading into PUBG, hitting all and being like, "Oh, cool, Miramar." I don't want to get Miramar 5 times in a row, then I'll be pissed.
Yeah,
But I'll be like, "Oh, Miramar. Oh, Vikendi, Sanok." Like I feel like that is going to be really fun to just like
yeah,
load in and then be like, "Okay, let's get ready for this kind of gameplay." You know what I mean? And
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
It makes it more true to battle royale when you don't know what you're gonna get. I feel like.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind. I like that. I like that a lot. And
Yeah, it just sucks when you get the same, like you said, like if you get Miramar 5 times, kind of sucks. Even if you get Sandhawk, and you're in a
yeah,
squad 5 times in a row, it kind of sucks because you want to play a variety. You want to like play that different feeling map and everything. So yeah, I definitely get that for sure too. So I think
yeah,
they need to fix the random algorithm they're using because
yeah,
it sucks.
yeah, for sure. I still love Sanok and Erangel. Miramar still last. Vikendi, I don't. I guess Vikendi's gonna come in around there. But when I think PUBG, I still think Sanok and Erangel are my favorite. But I'm sure Vikendi will take over as we play it more. And we got to get used to the
Yeah.
map still, and we got to have it go live. Another thing I wanted to bring up is like everybody
Yeah.
wearing white. Like, PUBG always said that they didn't want to have like camo that like gave you like an advantage in the game, or like gave you skins that gave you a huge advantage in the game. And obviously, I know there's
Yeah.
like stuff that you can wear that makes you like kind of look green on Sanok and stuff like that. But this camo, I don't know about you, man, but it really like it's it can be hard to see
Yeah.
people when they're wearing all white and they're not moving. Like this is definitely the hardest I've had a time finding people that are off in the distance shooting at me. I just like have a
Yeah.
really
This
hard
is
time seeing them.
Yeah, which I think is kind of cool. To be honest with you, I know it kind of sucks, but like, I guess they kind of just were like, we can't stop people from wearing white. Like, we've
Yeah,
already made white a pretty abundant color,
yeah,
and it's just, but it's even because everyone has a lot of white, probably. You know what I mean? Like, I had white pants on, like white shirt and khaki pants or something like that.
yeah,
Um, I think that's it's kind of a different element, which I'm with it. You know what I mean? If you're, I don't know if you're with that, but I think it's kind of cool to have that kind of
yeah.
weird camouflage going
No,
on.
no, no. It is cool. And on top of that, did you have any issues with the audio? Because I was having a really hard time identifying where people were. Um, And someone,
Yeah, I
I think
think I did.
Wendell said he was listening to my stream with his headphones on, and he said
Hmm.
that he was also having a hard time determining like where the people were because I had it up pretty loud, and like
Yeah,
it kept flipping. Like I heard like one guy and it was like to the left of me, to the right of me, to the left of me, to the right of me. I'm like, dude, I have no idea where this guy is. I can't even tell.
and I kind of wonder if that's desync too. Like desynchronized because like you're maybe the latency of you getting his noises where he is late.
Yeah, I don't know.
It
Maybe
could be a
there's
lot of things.
yeah. Did you hear about someone mention there's like some carpet glitch where like there's some buildings in Vikendi where the whole building is silent except for when you walk on the carpet like in a house. So
Oh,
there's whole areas where like
yeah, I
the
did hear
building's
that.
silent. So I definitely think like I don't know how they code sound. Like
Hmm.
if it's coded to every individual structure, or if it's just coded everywhere you walk, it's coded to make a noise. But
Yeah,
something definitely got messed up with that a little bit, which I can't even imagine how much of a pain that is to code all that stuff.
yeah.
But something definitely got messed up on the test server with that.
I'm sure there's something a little bit off about it for
Yeah,
sure.
but
It's hard to I'm sure there's just a lot of weird issues, but I'm sure they'll figure out most of it. I think they're making moves to the right direction is what matters.
Hmm.
They're not like slowing down. It seems like, which is good. I was a little worried about them not getting Vikendi out before Christmas, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they got it out. They kind of proved me wrong, which is always good. Like, kind of like what's that saying? Under I can't think of the saying right now. Poor timing to
I was
forget
trying to
the
help you out, but I don't know what it is.
like you don't want to under deliver. You want to
Oh, like
under
over
promise
promise,
and over deliver.
Yeah, under
Yeah.
promise, over deliver instead of the other way around.
Yeah, opposite.
Yeah.
Over promise and under deliver.
And that's
I
kind
think
of what
that's kind of
PUBG
their approach.
has done, unfortunately,
Yeah.
with some
And
things.
there's been times they've definitely under delivered, but I think
No, I mean
they're getting on.
that's what they normally do. I mean, they kind of like
Yeah.
the past. I mean, they did a lot of stuff, but they promised like a lot. They promised all these updates and all these things in November, December, which isn't a big deal, but they did promise it. Then they had to push all that stuff back, and so many delays for Xbox.
Yeah.
And which wouldn't have been a big deal if they just never said anything about it, to be honest with you.
No. Yeah.
But they promised all these huge updates and things, so then everyone got really hyped about it.
Yeah, and I think that's also the thing, like the community manager, when they're like, until blah blah blah, until they know for sure. And I'm like, dude, that's not kind of how they operate. Like, they don't want to frustrate people. I'm like, people are frustrated because they mentioned a month ago these things are gonna be in PTS and they're still not there, and now no one's saying anything. You know what I mean? So that's where you have issues, is when you say something and then it doesn't show up, and then you kind of have radio silence. And then you're giving an excuse that we don't want to make people frustrated. It's like, it's too late.
Yeah,
Like,
and it is such a weird situation because so many people sometimes, like even me, I get in that mode. I'm like, people complain too much, which I think people like really freak out about every video game. And honestly, when you go on Reddit, every video game subreddit gets like annoying after a while, no matter what game it is. Dude. They'll complain about everything. But PUBG is in a weird situation or in a unique situation because the game was a game preview that we paid for. Like, like I make that reference, and people got mad about that when I made that reference in that one video about us like kickstarting the game. They were like, PC kickstarted the game, and I'm like, dude, that's not what I'm saying. PC was the first. It's like they're almost like it's almost like rounds of Kickstarter. PC was the first initial Kickstarters, then Xbox, and now, now the game is allegedly 1.0, so like PlayStation doesn't really count in that anymore. But we are in a weird spot because we decided to pay for a game that like was basically saying pay for the game, we'll eventually deliver a 1.0 version. So when you do pay for something on the promise of like something in the future, you are kind of leading yourself to like more criticism and feedback from the community. So
100%.
People do have a right to like be critical, especially when they say things. But I think, people just get like really crazy, man. And people are really intense about it to a point where I'm like, dude.
People get like offended.
It's like, I'm like, there's a lot going on here, man. These people are working on it, and like, I don't know. People don't, I think sometimes it's people who are younger and haven't worked before, or, don't know what it's like to work in that kind of environment where like, there's so many things going on here. It's not like, I don't think they're trying to scam anybody. Of course they're trying to make money. Also, people hate when companies make money. Like, of course they deserve to make money. Like, if they didn't make money, they wouldn't be around. Everyone deserves to make money. And obviously that's their priority, is to make money, because like then they couldn't make a game. So it's like, people, but that's just the internet, and that's the world. What are you going to do?
Oh, 100%. And I agree. I mean, PUBG did put themselves in a unique position. They kind of did some things that were probably what I would say not the smartest moves in the planet. Like, they think they cheaped out in the beginning when they made this game, like just basically using like a base editor, you know what I mean? Like using pre-made building. And I think that's like what hurts them the most, is that they went about it this way, and they're probably like, we should have like built this from scratch.
Yeah, but who knew? I mean, I don't think they had any idea that the game would be so popular. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so either. And I think that's part of it. But I think now they're starting to build things from scratch. Like, they're probably getting better coders, they're getting all this stuff. That's why Vikendi looks so much better than the other maps.
100%
in reality.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to like, okay, like we built this on this, and it's not sustainable on this platform. So I think it's important that they kind of recognize that and keep moving forward to like further themselves from that Erangel is a great map, but like it was like a pre-built map from some other thing. So
Yes.
like they need to like keep moving away from that, unfortunately. Like fortunately and unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And as I check it right now, you're so right, dude. You could tell like this, like they definitely have better developers. That's enabling them to do this stuff. So you can see a difference. And what I was gonna say is, as I check right now, PUBG is back in the top 5 on like Twitch and YouTube right now in terms of like games being watched on Twitch and
On Christmas Eve.
Yeah, the Vikendi was definitely a huge drop for them.
Yeah, they needed it for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's gonna do well continuing as long as they keep pushing that way.
Yeah, for sure.
I think. Go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
Well, I was gonna switch up. I was gonna say before we move off, we should also talk about the event pass that's gonna launch soon.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So, I mean, I already think I talked about it. I made a video about it. So if you guys don't know what's going on, I mean, with the event pass, you can check out my video or just Google it online. It's the latest event pass is going to be for Vikendi. The first one we had was for Sanhok, and this is going to be $10 for, I think we might have talked about it in the previous podcast, dude, for 70 days. There's a bunch of information about what's leaked, all of the content that's going to be available. They now posted it on like official forums and stuff like that, how it's going to work. They're going to have, the daily missions, all that stuff. And I'm excited for that. I think it's just going to be like, I feel like that almost more than the map brings people in, because the map is going to not bring people in, but it keeps them. So the map brings people in, but having the missions gets people like really involved with playing like every day. And that's basically what I want to talk about, because we already heard about all the stuff, and I'm really excited for that. And I hope that, PUBG really like blows up again, like in the new year, and who knows when it's going to be coming to Xbox. How long did it take Vikendi to go live on PC? A couple weeks, I think. I think
they launched a PTS and like a week or two later it was out.
It launched the date the night PlayStation 4 launched. So PlayStation 4 launched on the 7th,
and then launched,
and then it came out on the 19th. So yeah, like
2 weeks,
like a little less than
days.
2 weeks. Yeah, 12 days exactly. So I'm hoping that if you say that 2 week schedule or 13 days, it launched on the 21st. But the thing is, the holiday season, I don't know like how many people are going to be working and if they have time to fix these issues or whatever. But if you say 13 days, that would put it on January 4th for Xbox. But I don't think it's going to be it sounded like it wasn't more coming to like the middle of January. So maybe we'll see it like the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, like that week.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see it on the live servers. And the sooner the better.
If they're in Korea, I don't think Korea celebrates Christmas, but New Year's and everything is still around the corner. So
yeah, I'm not sure what the major like religions are in Korea actually. So I have no idea.
I'm not really sure, but yeah, I agree. I hope it comes out like early January would be the best case scenario. I think at least. Yeah.
Now I'm Googling. There are more Christians in South Korea than in many other Asian countries in China and Japan, but not. It seems like it's not like the major thing, but I don't know. We shouldn't talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, people just celebrate Christmas just because it gives gift. You know what I mean? Like,
but how about this? Since we're on the topic, this website says 70% of people in South Korea are Buddhist, and 25.
What was that?
It said 70% of people in South Korea are Buddhist, and it said that, but like 25 to 30% of the population celebrate Christmas. I don't know. This is just a random website. It doesn't. I don't know if it's factual or not. I'm just reading it. But just so we kind of educate some of our viewers in some like a rough education here. We're just kind of throwing information out there. Nothing exact.
Yeah. Don't quote us on this.
Yeah. Don't quote us on that stuff. So. What were we saying? So Vikendi, the pass, all that stuff's all good. Looks like PUBG is doing well. And
I'm excited for it to have the pass come out. I'm gonna buy it. I actually saw like a post from like there's like all these PUBG Instagram pages now. I must get a request a week from them. Okay. And one of them posted like the season pass schedule as compared to like Fortnite and all the other ones. And it was saying that the PUBG was only 30 days. And I was like, yo, this was announced as gonna be 70 days. Like a while ago. I'm like, you're way behind on the news. Come on.
Yeah. It was announced pretty while ago. Yeah, whatever the term is.
I kind of was like, God, some of these people.
Yeah, and I think I'm happy they did that, man, because it makes more sense with the same price as Fortnite.
Yeah. And 30 days is short. And if they want to make it seasonal, I think, I mean, it makes more sense. And they have the ability then to give themselves maybe a little bit more time. And like they could drag it out, make the pass have more content, keep people staying on
Yes.
the platform for longer,
Yes, and then that gives them time to eventually set up another pass and stuff like that,
Exactly.
or whatever they want to
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah.
the question is now is like where's the future of PUBG? Like are they, because right now they're kind of setting it up to like they need a lot of stuff. The games nowadays just needs things to bring the hype. Fortnite brings the hype because every time you download the game, there's like a new item and they take things away. I was with some friends over the weekend that play, all they do is play Fortnite. And we were talking about the game, and some of them used to play PUBG, and they were just telling me about why they like Fortnite. And they said that it's great because there's so many updates. Sometimes it is bad because they bring so many weird things into the game. But they said a lot of times things are just there for like 2 weeks. They told me, I didn't even know this, that there's now a jet plane in Fortnite.
Yeah,
Like,
I
dude,
saw that.
yeah, I had no idea. I saw like the most of the things, like the different rocket launchers and the shopping carts. I've seen that stuff, but I was not aware of a jet plane. And that might be something that's only there for a little while. But now the question is like, how is PUBG going to recreate that? And are they going to like depend on new maps bringing that hype? Because then that's a lot of work to bring hype, and I don't think like they should. That's like sustainable. And so that's one question. The second question is, I'm sure they'll eventually make another map, and I can't even think of like where the next location would be. I was kind of pondering like maybe like somewhere in Africa. It doesn't seem like they've gone to Africa yet. And I don't know if that would be somewhere like in the Congo, or maybe something more like Egypt, like that kind of desert map compared to like Mexico, which is like the Miramar map, or or South America, because like they already have the desert, they already have the snow, they have just like the plain kind of area, which is like Arango, which is like Eastern Europe, and so they have like North America technically with Mexico. So they don't have South America or Australia, but they have Indonesia kind of with Sanak, that kind of area, South Pacific, whatever you want to call it. It's like a Vietnamese influence. So I couldn't really think where they would go with the next one if they did that. Do you have any ideas?
I mean, I think it would be kind of cool to do, like you said, like Australia a little bit.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool, like doing the like kind of like, or a Sahara kind of thing where there's like forest, but the fields are very open. You know what I mean? Like very barren, or high grasses, like waist high grasses. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think they necessarily have to do maps. I think they need to continue to add weapons.
Yes.
I think that's important. Adding new weapons, adding new skins.
Yeah, what if they ever did like an RPG in PUBG? That would be pretty cool. I'm surprised they don't have one like that. But it pretty rare. Like, you only get like 2 rockets.
Yeah, I think, and only like like nothing that locks on. I think, or it'd be cool if they did a helicopter. I think a helicopter would be really cool because that's kind of cool in Blackout, and it's not super hard to take out.
No, it's like risky
as long as it's not OP.
Yeah,
it is a risky thing because like think about it, even in Blackout, like it's not like it's it's not like something that you're getting in and you're like just blasting people from the sky. You know what I mean? If it's just a helicopter that you could fly, there's no guns attached to it, then it's really not anything special, but it makes it fun.
Yeah,
I think those are important.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder where the future. Yeah. I'm going to be making a video about that, so I don't want to talk about all my ideas for like what's coming in the game. There's some screenshots of like proof, but I definitely think that that stuff would be really cool for sure. And new guns always make things exciting and really different.
I mean, whatever happened that they had the thing where they would drop the flare gun, and they would drop like if you're outside the circle, it would drop like the UAV.
The armored UAS.
That didn't come to Xbox yet, right? I guess it was only on PC. Was that an event?
It was an event mode, and then they said they were. I think I forget if it actually went to the live servers, but they said they were just testing it if they wanted to be like in every mode. In the default mode. And I don't know if they ever came to a conclusion on that. And it actually is on Xbox in the custom games, but you can't like set it like it's there. It's just really rare. But you can't like make it where it comes up more, and it's only in the custom game. So hopefully, we'll see that in a event soon, and it would be nice to be able to use it more, because obviously the custom game thing is kind of annoying right now. That definitely needs to be fixed.
Yeah,
they said they're going to work on that in 2019. PlayStation doesn't even have custom games yet. So yeah, the flare thing is definitely something I want to see, and that's a whole another unique thing. There's so much stuff they can do. Now I really think they need to chill with these maps, because honestly, Sanhok and Vikendi kind of came out pretty. Well, honestly, all 4 of these maps came out this year on Xbox.
Yeah.
So right, so like it's been a busy. They put out 4 maps this year, and I feel like they can chill, and now they need to like develop on top of these maps a little bit more now. And maybe that was their plan.
You know, it'd be cool if the flare would have a helicopter fly in, like if you're outside the circle, a helicopter flew in.
Yeah,
and you can like get in a helicopter.
Oh,
fly it.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Instead of an armored US, because then you could like fly over bridges and stuff. Like you'd have to like land. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be cool. And obviously, that would be more useful on Erangel, the big maps, as opposed to Sanhok. Yeah, Sanhok doesn't need a helicopter.
Nah.
That would be really cool, and I would like to. This is like ridiculous. I'm just throwing this out there, but there's a train in Vikendi, and I honestly thought it would have been so cool, dude, if like the train went through the map at a certain time, or like twice in a match. Wouldn't that be so crazy? Like you could get on the train, it would take you across the entire map or something.
And like it had stops like at the cities, and you can jump on it,
dude. Honestly, something like that would be so sick. Like some kind of thing that happens in the game. It doesn't have to be like, I'm not asking PUBG to get so realistic where like buildings start crumbling or like a missile goes off during the match. Like nothing ridiculous, just something like pretty realistic where like even if one of the bridges was a drawbridge and at a certain point in the game it opened, and like you couldn't get over, that would be pretty cool, or it made people get off the bridge if they're bridge camping. Like something like that would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Like kind of thing that happened in the game. But
I agree. It would be cool if they made the storm, like the red dot, different. Instead of like a bombardment, it was a storm or something like a Miramar. It was like a sandstorm.
Yeah, people were talking about that. That would be really cool to see a blizzard in Vikendi. That was like a while ago on Reddit. People had brought that up. Yeah. Like that would be such a cool thing. But obviously that would take up that would take up a lot of reresources and stuff. Yeah, like a crazy monsoon on Sanhok.
Yeah, it'd probably kill the game. It crashed city.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of things they can do. I honestly don't know how like they deal with like Fortnite changing a lot. I think that's really hard. I don't know. I guess like
PUBG or Fortnite themselves.
Fortnite changes a lot, like with all that stuff, and I don't know how like professional teams deal with that. I guess they really just kind of ignore it, and then when they set up these games now for the professional teams, I'm not sure. Tom would probably know more, but
honestly, I have no. We were talking about this over the weekend, and the people that I was with, they didn't even really know if there is like a pro league. I don't really think there is, and that's what I was saying. It's kind of interesting about Fortnite. Is there? And but Fortnite to me is more like the face of Fortnite is like Ninja, who's really an entertainer because there's better players at Fortnite than Ninja, and and then usually though when you look at other games, the most famous players are like the competitive players. Or other than like Dr. Disrespect. So Fortnite definitely does have more of that like casual atmosphere. And you're right. I don't understand how they could constantly be switching things. Maybe they play on like a default build, or they what happened in League of Legends and Call of Duty when they added a lot of items like that. The Pro League would just say like you can't use any of these new items. So they have like an agreements and stuff like with these things. And I guess this is what they would have to do. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think that. Like we don't need to go into like the professional gaming, but I just with those types of things I just don't get how they kind of compensate for that type of stuff. But I'm sure they have to have some way that they just agree you can't use this, you can't use that. But I don't know. I just wouldn't like when things change too much in a game also. You know what I mean? Like sometimes too much change is not good too. If that's like for me at least. I agree with you, man. I think change is good, but it should be over time, because too much change too quickly like puts really high demand on it, and like that it's like unsustainable. And then a lot of times when you keep making so many changes, like it could push people away. So to me, like PUBG is in a good place. They could maybe going like a little bit quicker, but I think it's pretty fine, because I was just now feeling like, okay, I want something new now, but for a while I felt pretty fine with the game. Like Tanaka's great, the game's playing better, everything is fun. So yeah, you need like the event pass and stuff like that, but really like I agree with you. You don't want to go too. It kind of comes around. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. You live by the updates. And I feel the updates kill people sometimes, like away from the game.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree, and I think like that's where Fortnite could shoot themselves in the foot. I
Mhm.
mean, PUBG has its issues where they could shoot themselves in the foot, but there's different. Like I think Fortnite with all the updates,
Yeah.
like it's almost over too much hype after a while. Like, oh, we got playing, we got this, we got that. Like, you know what I mean? You're running through your list of ideas like really quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They
Like
are.
you're kind of like,
They could be kind of
you know,
sandbagging. They should be sandbagging themselves maybe a little bit more. And who knows?
yeah,
Maybe
and I
they
mean
have
that's
so much
and
stuff in
maybe
the
they're giving
pipeline.
people what they want.
Yeah.
Maybe they're giving everyone what they want, but at the same time, it's like people don't know exactly what they want. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like everyone's like, we want more, we want more. We want the plane, we want this, and it's just like, all right, like, what are we gonna do? Like, now we gotta bring the plane back out.
Yeah, and then what are
You
they gonna do?
know,
Have like UFOs and spaceships, and then now it's not even like Fortnite anymore. It's
yeah,
like
it
about
just gets to be
flying.
hard coming up with these ideas to add
Yeah.
into it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, slow your roll a little bit, and maybe I don't know exactly, but I just get like that kind of is one of those things that I feel is potential to, you know, you're throwing so much out there at once that you might choke yourself a little bit, but
Yeah.
you never know. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I mean, PUBG has this issues, different issues though. So I think that's just one of the vices of having a lot of content coming out so quickly,
Yeah.
you know. But we'll see. I mean, we don't know. Could be
For sure.
fine. Like,
Yeah. I mean, the future will tell, but hopefully, PUBG stays strong. And
yeah.
you know, it's funny, man, because I'm so deep into PUBG, and I think like kind of we are because we play it, and I am because
Mhm.
of the YouTube page. But it was funny when over the weekend when I was talking to these people, a couple of them played PUBG in the past, and they were
Yeah.
like, "Dude, I didn't even think people still played PUBG." And I'm like, "Come on, dude, you can't say that." But like that's how they felt about it. I'm like, I get it, it's not the biggest game, but I'm surprised that some people still thought. I mean, that they thought
I
that
mean,
that.
it's yeah. I mean, it's still like I don't know if maybe
I
we
think
haven't
on
gotten to
I think
mention
what
this.
happened is on Xbox it really blew up, and on
Yeah.
PC it was getting some hate because of some of the issues. But because Xbox over the summer didn't have any new games, I think a lot of people moved over to PUBG from like a Call of Duty and stuff on
Yeah, I
Xbox.
agree.
So I think that's
And
where it was.
but I don't know if we mentioned this on the last podcast because it's been a while. But PUBG was the top selling game on Steam like in the month of November, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I don't know if we
Yeah.
mentioned that.
No, we didn't. We
Steam
should
came out
have
with that
mentioned that
statistic.
earlier. But that's
Yeah,
huge.
sorry.
Yeah.
So that's a really big thing. I mean, Fortnite's not on Steam, but that's three platforms though now that we've mentioned here. That's like, you know, we mentioned the Android awards, we
Yeah.
mentioned iOS, so and now Steam. So three different platforms are saying, "Hey, PUBG's number one selling game."
Yeah.
You know, our top game. That's kind of crazy to think about, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of something to say. It's definitely turning around a bit. And I mean, top five stream, and it's been out for a long time. You know, I
Mhm.
think that's still good statistics.
Yeah. Same. 100%.
You know,
I definitely agree, and
but
I
well,
think
I
that
guess we'll see.
being the most played mobile game gives it some help too, because it's like pretty advertised everywhere just because of the mobile game. So, and that brings
Hmm.
people in. Like, there's people who watch the stream, they want to buy an Xbox now just to play on Xbox because they play mobile. So that
Yeah,
stuff helps a lot.
yeah. I mean, that's the cool part too about
Hmm.
the stream. You know,
Yeah.
kind of gets people like hyped up about new stuff like that too. And I think that's important for PUBG to do is like release content that people like streamers can, you know, publicize, and then like having events where, you know, big PUBG events that like people could play the game, and like, you know, like I think that's important that you like display the game as much as possible. That like it may cost a little bit of money to do,
Yeah.
but I think it gives them the biggest gains to get people hyped about the game, because you don't need to necessarily release new content. Sometimes it's just marketing, you know?
That's true too, man. That's definitely true. And I was thinking that like I hope eventually something comes. I mean, who knows? I don't know if there really is enough of a player base or like community for it, but it would be cool to see some kind of more competitive aspect on console. And who
Mhm.
knows if we'll see like crossplay in 2019? That would be huge. I still want a ranked playlist, man. I think that would be really, really cool. Do
Yeah,
like
true
ranked
ranked.
solo
Yeah.
and ranked squads, you know,
Yeah.
and so then you can go in there and it like gives you a rank after you play like 10 games, you know, it gives you a rank. And then just like other games like League of Legends and stuff, like
I agree.
you get rated like bronze, silver, gold, platinum or whatever, and depending, and you can like move up and down or however they, you know, want to figure it out. But this kind of leads me
Yeah,
to
I agree. And it'd be kind
yeah.
of cool that like if the rank system for squads, it would list all your teammates that you're highest rank with. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah,
Like
that'd
a
be cool
comb
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do the combination of people that you play the best with. That'd be kind of cool. Definitely possible. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's
That
just like if you play with 10 people, here's your top 3 or 4, or like maybe just based off the who you play with the most, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. I think that would be awesome. I really hope to see something like that. I don't care about like there's that rank system coming into the game. Like I don't care about like my rank system. I just want to know like I just want to have a ranked playlist because again, like when I stream, sometimes I'm doing ridiculous things. I just edited a video of me winning that game with the Winchester and the pistol. Like
Yeah.
I want to have fun in the public server. I mean, and still play, but like I like when they have two different areas so you can really determine like what's like this game is everyone's trying hard
Yeah.
and whatnot.
It's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that makes it more fun. And that's something simple they could do. I feel like that doesn't require a lot of manual labor or money to do.
No, it's just adding a new playlist, really, and then adding the
Yeah,
coding behind the ranking.
yeah, exactly.
So
That's it. And I feel like that's just some basic statistical stuff to
yeah,
add
and then
that
that
kind
gets,
of
and then
program.
that like that gives people who are really hardcore like another outlet, and that again, like you said, that just keeps people like more involved.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes the simplest things work the best, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I
Uh,
mean, that kept me involved with League of Legends for a long time. Like I wouldn't even like there was nothing being like that new being added to the game, but I would be playing to like I wanted to move from I was always like rated in silver,
mhm.
and I wanted to get into like the gold league, so I'd always be like playing to get into gold and like playing
Yeah.
ranked games and stuff. So
Yeah, that's 100% a lot because it makes you work towards something. And that's why
yeah,
the season pass, those passes, event passes are so big because you're something to work towards.
yeah,
So I agree. I 100% agree on that. I think it's
yeah,
important that they kind of like cater to that.
for sure.
Maybe take some time off from coming up with maps or something like that. Or, skins I feel like are super simple, but content wise, like you could just build that out. But we'll see. I'm hoping to do that for sure.
Yeah, we shall see. And something that I think we could maybe, unless you have anything else you want to talk about, let me know. We could possibly end on this last topic here.
Okay.
Is because of talking about console and Xbox One and PUBG running on that. Obviously, there's some limitations because people on PC have way more capability with like their $2,000 computers and stuff like that. And
Soon to be me.
yeah, and if they did like some kind of competitive league on Xbox, it could have issues unless the game gets more optimized, which they did also drop a lot of optimizations with this new patch. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see how those work on Sanhok and Erangel and Miramar as well. It's just going to improve the whole game itself. But
Yeah.
with that, someone, shout out to Stewyburns,
Hmm.
sent me an article last week about a pretty big like leak or information about the new Xbox. And I had heard talk, people were saying that there is talk that like there's a PlayStation 5 in the works and rumored for like 2020. And he sent me this article kind of saying Xbox One X is planning the same thing. I mean, not Xbox One X, Xbox, Microsoft.
Hmm.
And I'm sure there's a lot of different information out there. When I re-Googled it while we were talking, there was like multiple different information. But what I saw is that it seems like they're looking to make two consoles, allegedly, potentially, or multiple consoles, and one being like for hardcore gamers, like one that's like very expensive, that's super
Yeah.
serious, like the best stuff, and it has like a huge SSD built into it. And I think that would be catered for a lot of hardcore gamers and people who are interested in playing PUBG. And then almost kind of like an iPhone, where if you want like the best iPhone, you get that one. And if you want like the cheaper one or an older one, you get like the other models. And instead of him, Xbox has always done like they come out the Xbox, then they come out the S, and then now like there's the X. So instead of doing this like 2 years later, I think at launch they're gonna say like you can choose which way you want to go right off the bat, which would be an interesting strategy. And I
Yeah.
just don't know, like, still the
Hmm.
future of consoles are kind of as consoles get so powerful. Like if you're saying what is this going to be, like an $800 Xbox, I'm just making this number up, like the last Xbox One X is what, 500. So if it's going
Yeah.
to be $600 or $700, $800, then like you really are getting into like PC territory here. So it kind of blurs the lines a little bit and it's confusing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's hard to say. I'll probably buy the expensive one because I'm an idiot, but
Yeah, and I'm
uh
not saying there's no I'm
price
making
point.
those numbers up. There's no price
Yeah.
numbers yet.
No, I mean,
I'm totally
the
making
thing
it up.
is that I went out and I bought the new Xbox One X as soon as it came out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't even think I hesitated. I bought it. So I'll probably do the same thing, to be
Mhm.
completely honest, because I like consoles and I play a lot of video games. If I didn't play a lot of video games, I'd probably get the cheaper one or wait or do whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm dedicated, but it is kind of tough because you're like, are they doing this because they're trying to pretty much just blur the lines? Maybe that's what their goal is like, we want to make it almost as cohesive that like you could plug this into your TV and have the same capabilities as someone playing a computer game.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. And that would make Microsoft very powerful in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because they have, the Windows gaming is huge. Like just because they've kind of completing that, I think they would really kind of complete this. Like, I think their goal. Sorry, this is kind of weird, but I think their goal is to kind of make like PC gaming and Xbox gaming one. Eventually, they wanted to make home entertainment like huge with Xbox One, and they kind of did that, and people didn't like it that much, but they did it.
Yeah.
And I think now they're trying to, all right, well, like let's make the computer and gaming console like very similar. Like like, what I mean, make it one cohesive thing. And I think that's kind of the route they're going, to be honest.
I kind of believe that too. It's just going to be weird how they figure it out, but I agree with you on that.
Like supporting, also them starting to like Xbox One supporting keyboard and mouse, like you just don't know. But
Yeah, they're
you kind
definitely
of have to
yeah.
assume.
Yeah, and then like even they, I remember when they had even a while ago they're like Halo's playable on your computer or on Xbox. So like you're like they're definitely blurring those lines, and I think Microsoft sees that as the future, which could be smart or could be bad. I mean, it could be the end of Xbox, or it could be the Xbox taking over and being like the the next best thing. And this console war, the next generation is going to be crazy because I think Xbox realized like, hey, they messed up by like not making the most powerful machine. Then they came out with Xbox One X because they were like pissed off. So now, and Sony likes to be ahead of Xbox, and they're going to be like really packing this stuff with a ton of power. And I mean, that's why competition is good, I guess.
For that. Yeah, and I know 100% that like the CEO of Microsoft, like that Satya Nadella guy, he's like 100% for the gaming, and I think they know that it's a big revenue stream. So I think like, Sony has they're gonna have a hard time coming up against Microsoft as a huge company. It's like one of the most valuable companies in the world. They have a ton of cash, and they really could do anything. You know what I mean? They have a lot to do. Like, I think we discussed that basically like, Xbox partnered with AMD and pretty much saved AMD from bankruptcy.
Yeah.
So like
to
build their chips and everything for these consoles. So I mean, it's I think that Microsoft has like the bandwidth and the money to do whatever they want. And I think the
if they
Xbox
want
One
to,
X kind of proved that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They pretty much reinvented the motherboard of consoles to, like the console's motherboard, to really optimize, what I mean, the game console and make it cheaper. So I really don't doubt that they can make something pretty crazy with a decent price point,
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, that's for sure. And it makes sense because it's been, the last console generation came out in 2013. It's just crazy to think. I guess I felt the same way when 360 was around, but it's crazy to think that like a new console is not that far away. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, still a year, really, but now it's almost 2019. 1 year isn't that long,
No. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And Xbox One X came out in 2017, so November 2017. So
yeah, wow,
pretty crazy. Yeah, we'll see. I guess I'm excited. I think it's important that they kind of start to keep up with the changing of PCs and everything. I just hope they kind of make it that, and I think this is what really helps with Xbox, and Xbox One X is that they've kind of figured out how to easily make these things not necessarily backwards compatible, but like it just like runs like a computer. You know what I mean? Like if you have an OG Xbox, you could still play the same games that the Xbox One X has.
Yeah.
And I think like hopefully when they do that this next edition of games will be the same way. Like you could play it on Xbox One X, or you could play it on Xbox, 2 or whatever they're gonna call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's important, and that's where they're kind of blurring the lines with PC, because it doesn't really matter what generation PC you have, as long as like you could pretty much play.
Dude, that's such a good point. And people who have Xbox One X, obviously, like maybe if you don't want to, you might not need to upgrade to the next Xbox because it'll be working fine. And you might be on like the same level as somebody who buys like the cheapest version of the next Xbox. That would be really interesting. You're right. And then it almost makes it like PC. That's such a good point, dude. Wow. That's smart.
Yeah, because you can now look at like how Vikendi, you can in the PTS now you can choose your graphics settings.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you do it on PC. So you could kind of optimize the game to suit you. And I mean, eventually I'm sure the OG Xboxes will be, pretty much obsolete,
Hmm.
I'm sure they're going to be like, yeah, we can't support that console anymore. Like you have to upgrade to at least the Xbox One X or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, and eventually
So
that might just be where it gets to, where like, sorry guys, like if you want to play PUBG, you just can't have an OG Xbox anymore, and I think that's
mhm.
fine because, like before every game had to play on every console, but now, like
Mhm.
you said, if they blur the lines, like, and for the most part, if you're playing PUBG, you're a hardcore gamer. Like if you're playing it a lot, so then like it's just like having a computer too. Not every computer can run PUBG, so it's just
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it just is what it is. And honestly, that's a genius idea. I hope that's what they're doing. It'd be pretty
Yeah, I
smart.
think it's really smart. And I think that, you know what, like it's easy to say and be like, hey, listen, like unfortunately and fortunately, technology advances a lot. So, we have to keep up with the demand of like the people that really play the games a lot. So you have to upgrade your console.
Yeah.
And I think people will understand that. You know what I mean? I think there's always going to be the people that don't want to do that. But you know what? Like the majority of people are going to be like, yeah, you know what? Like I want a new console. Like this does this now, it does that, XYZ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's important. But, you know,
For
we'll
sure. Oh,
see. I'm
oh,
hoping to do that.
and I forgot that somebody mentioned to me in the stream that like PUBG is going to come out with stuff just like PC for Xbox, where you can actually eventually, like, the graphical thing was just the one setting, that they're going to go
Mhm.
down the list and be like, what, in PC you can choose, like, do you want to load shadows, and that they might be adding that to
Yeah.
Xbox, where you can really choose from like a list of 20 different things and just turn
Mhm.
like all that stuff down if you want to. And
To
honestly,
make it.
I'm shocked that that hasn't come to console sooner. Like those kind of like
Well, and I think
sliders,
that's the thing with similar to this whole PC debate, right? Like, I think that that's a really big PC option. I
Yeah.
think that just maybe the capabilities of consoles wasn't there. And now that they're becoming more like pretty much computers, that they have the ability to code these in
Yeah.
a little bit easier. I think that like consoles used to have to be uniform. And now that they're not uniform, like Microsoft was like, we got the Xbox One X, we need to make it so you could segregate like these people that have an OG Xbox can still play these games, so we
Yeah.
keep them happy. But now we have to be able to satisfy these people that went out and spent $500 on a console. So like let's tell the developers like, hey, put in some graphical settings, like make your game a beast if you want. If you can do it, make it a beast, or slowly upgrade it over time
Hmm.
to be a beast. And then but keep it like low end so other people will play your game, and that makes the developers happy because they probably sell more games,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
yeah, 100%. And on top
So
of that, I know I keep throwing stuff in there, so sorry everybody and
yeah,
Andrew. But on top
that's
of
okay.
that, I had heard recently that like were you telling me this, that the dev kits a lot of times are like stronger, like they give like obviously Xbox gives PUBG Xbox dev kits to build the
Mhm.
game on Xbox, and then those are actually more powerful. And then what they
Yeah.
do is they build the game and they just get it out there onto that system, and then they start kind of scaling it back for like OG Xbox and like the other and the regular One X now. So I definitely think they have that, they're used to doing that and have that capability of like scaling things down and up. So there could be like multiple kind of builds of the game that way, and the slider effect. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's more difficult than we're making it sound, but that's such a huge option for Xbox and just the future of gaming on console. Really, it's such a big deal.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really big deal. It's a huge move forward that like no one really kind of sees coming or saw coming, but I think it's like we're getting to that point. Like probably by 2020 we'll be pretty much just it's going to be like, PC master race and consoles are just going to be like a stem.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think we're just going to have to move that direction anyway though. Even if they're not doing it now, they're going to in the future, like beyond 2020 or something.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So,
And we definitely geeked out. I'm like, dude, we're such video game nerds, but it's fun to talk about this stuff. But we really like get
yeah.
into all the intricate details of all this stuff, where
Yeah.
some people just log in and play, which I get it. It's fun. But it's, once you start playing, you think more about it. Then you're reading the update for PUBG. It kind of all comes hand in hand, Now, if you made it this far into the podcast, you're probably like, what did I just listen to? But now I'm kidding around. But
Yeah.
it's all for fun. You kind of,
Yeah. It's cool to theorize about, you know what I mean? It's like imagination a little bit. What
yeah,
could the
too.
possibilities be?
True. Plus, this is something you just kind of just talk about with friends, and that's what we're doing here. So, just kind
Yeah.
of BSing around PUBG and the future of games and Xbox. And me and
Yeah.
Andrew have been playing Xbox together for,
Oh, so long
I
now.
don't know,
14 years probably.
15
For-
years. So, yeah, who
yeah.
knows? Something like that.
Yeah, I think it's but I mean it's gonna be cool. I'm sure you'll get some people tweeting at you, being like, oh, I think this is gonna happen. So it's
Yeah.
always fun to think about.
True, and there's so much information out there, and people, even me, I'm like constantly reading about PUBG stuff, and someone will tweet me like, "Did you see this?" I'm like, "Nah, dude, I missed that." Like, there's just so much. There's so much information out there. It's honestly crazy, and yeah, even with the PTS update, man, it was so funny. Oh, and we can end with this. I was streaming, checking on the 21st, checking. I'm like, dude, I think it's coming today. I think it's coming today. As soon as it went live, by the way, I got a lot of messages. People like, dude, you called it, but I called a bunch of different days, so it's not like I called it, but I really was like being optimistic about it. So I was streaming at like I streamed till like 5 or 6, and then I got off. I ate dinner, and then I got a message at like 7:30 being like, dude, the PTS, the post just came out. The PTS is coming. So then I went to the forum, and the forum post said it was 4 hours ago that it got posted. I'm like, dude, I was just on the forum literally 2 and 3 hours ago. So I think what happened was, and I mentioned this in another video, I think, but that that they must have they probably post that and made it private, and then were like proofreading their post, for like 2 hours or whatever. And then
they're saying like, are we sure about this?
yeah, exactly. And then they posted it, because I remember that used to happen sometimes when I used to be at my previous job, like posting like a press release like that. Like you would like go to post it and then realize like you messed up something, and then you'd fix it.
Yeah, they'd retract it real quick
or something. Yeah, and then it comes out with like that original post date. Because I'm like, dude, there's no way this was posted 4 hours ago. I was literally just on this website.
Yeah, I got the email late for that. I remember we talked, and then like I was doing something, and I was like, and then I got done, and I was like, whoa, wait, it's live? And then it's like midnight. But yeah, kind of funny.
That was awesome. There was so much hype around that, so that was a lot of fun.
I remember I saw it as on the Discord channel. Someone posted, it's like, it's up, and I was like, wait, what?
That's how I found out. Someone posted on the Discord. So whoever that was,
I saw you comment. I was like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah, a huge shout out to whoever posted that on the Discord.
Is that Icy Prime?
No, I think it was Fuzz. This guy's been throwing down in the chat like some like updates, and he was the first person to post
Just the first person to hit refresh.
Wow.
Maybe.
He said, listen, everyone just launched it. It's not fully up, just an update for it. Yeah, I think that's what he was saying. Interesting. He was like all over that stuff. So big shout out to him. And thanks to everybody who's joined the Discord and everything else. And again, did it in the beginning, but a huge thank you to all you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. Everything with the stream. For sure. And I hope you guys are having a great holiday season. This will probably go up. I'll probably post this after Christmas. Unless I want to push it out tonight. What do you think?
Whatever. If you have time. I got to run, actually, soon.
Okay.
But whatever you have time to do, man.
No, well, because I think the Reddit Secret Santa video went out today. So if you guys haven't seen that, check it out on Christmas Eve. What I got for Reddit Secret Santa, what I got my gift what I got my Redditor. And so that came out today. So I think I'll probably, wait on this and post it later because I'm going to be away. So I'm going to post this after Christmas Eve. After Christmas. So the 26th is when you guys will be listening to it. So we got all that stuff. Hope you guys have a great Christmas or had a great Christmas, because this will be after the fact for you guys. And
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. And then we'll try to record one right on the New Year's, have some more information. Got some exciting news for January 2019 for next year. So guys, come back to the podcast and the channel for all the new stuff that's coming. You guys know where to find us. All over the place and on the internet at Blitz5. And you can find Andrew, Cypher5, online or on Xbox at Cypher5, and on Twitter at Cypher5AD.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I think that's it. So
I'll get that plug for next time. I promise everybody.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys. So I hope you guys have a great holiday season. And again, thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thanks for the support. Happy New Year.
All right, and thank you for making it into the final circle with us.
Right.
We did it.
You got it this time.
Oof.
It's the final circle, the final part of the year. Ooh.
Wow. Double the final phase.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Later.